Right, so I'm back on my Kali Linux system, and this is the GitHub repo for EyeWitness, and it sort of gives you an introduction as to what the tool is and what it's used for. As you can see, EyeWitness is designed to take screenshots of websites, provide some server header info, and identify default credentials if known. So this is very useful if you're dealing with a login form or an admin panel, and you can actually utilize a tool like EyeWitness to again take a screenshot, display the server header info, and also if this admin panel or content management system is known, this is a great way of displaying default credentials if known. So it's designed to be run on Kali Linux, and it'll auto detect the file you give it with the F flag, so it allows you to input more than one URL, and it takes input in the form of a file. And it also works on Windows. So let me show you how to install it on Kali. As I said, it's part of the Kali repos. So again, sudo apt get install, and we can say EyeWitness right over here. And I already have it installed, so I'll show you how to use it. So the usage is very, very simple. I'm currently on my desktop. The first thing you need to provide is, of course, the text file or a CSV file or even an Excel sheet file with the URLs or the actual sites that you'd like to take a screenshot of. So the first thing we would need to do is just create that text file. So I'm just going to call this domains.txt. And in here, I can put hackexploit.org. And we can also put in forum.hackexploit.org. Just as a simple example, and I'll write and quit. There we are. So EyeWitness is very easy to use. I'll just open up the help menu here. And you can go through some of the options you can specify here and the timing options. But in our case, because we're doing a simple web screenshot, we're going to be utilizing the web option here because it's going to do it through Selenium. And let me show you a practical example of how I typically use it. So I'll say, EyeWitness, and I'll say web. The file that contains my domains is called domains.txt, and then I specify where I want this saved. So on my desktop, I can say I want to save it in a folder called hackexploit. So I'll hit enter. It's going to start the web requests, and it's going to attempt to screenshot the first domain and then the second one. And we'll wait for this to complete. Once it's done, you can see there seems to be a timeout that's limiting when connecting to hackexploit.org. So we'll just wait for this to retry. If there's an error, no problem. We can do this on another site to demonstrate it. But this might be because I think I've already done it. But there we are. Once you're done, it's going to automatically open the report, which I personally like. And this is very useful if you're doing bug bounties. But this is what a web screenshot is. It essentially takes a screenshot of the actual website itself and then displays the web request info. So we have the page title, the X powered by header, which tells us, it's running PHP. So you can actually use this to do some of the web application fingerprinting and, web server fingerprinting in a passive way. Of course, we've already explored how to do this, but this is a great way of doing it. We can view the headers, and you can actually see that you have the source code. So if you click on the source code, that's going to display the actual website index file or the actual source code of the home page. If you specify a custom path or a path to that file, then that's what is going to be done. A screenshot will be taken of that. But from this, we can pretty much learn a lot about the web application, the web server itself. So, for example, we can see we have the Cloudflare cache status header. So we know that, this site is being protected by Cloudflare. And then, of course, on page 2, you have the same done for the forum. And in this case, you can see quite a lot of information. So if we take a look at the actual content security policy as well as the other headers, you can see that it's running discourse, so on and so forth. And you can also view the source code for that particular domain or website. Now, one thing that I really like is I head over into the folder where I saved this, which is under my desktop, and under Hackexploit, you can see that you're going to have the screens, which are the screenshots, and then the source code, which again is just for the home page. But you'll also have the different, you're going to have the different JavaScript libraries or jQuery libraries in this case. And of course, in this case, we've not explicitly pulled them. These particular libraries are for this report here. So if you take a look at the reports, You can see there's page 1 and page 2, and then you also have the request stored in a CSV file. So all the requests that were made and the open ports on each of the sites right over here. So if you want to save additional information, if we take a look at the EyeWitness help menu, I just want to show you this here. So give that a couple of seconds. The web options, there we are. You can specify a custom user agent. In addition to that, you can actually pass the request through a proxy, which again, we're not covering because we're not exploring web proxies, although we will be taking a look at Burp Suite, but you can do that as well. You can, prepend HTTP or HTTPS without using either. And also, with regards to the input options, you can see those options there, but the output options should be specified here. 1 second. What am I looking for exactly? There we are. All right, so that's the ports, but there we are. So you can show the display for Selenium. That's what I wanted to highlight. And you can then combine this with HTTrack, or, you can download a copy of the website and then analyze the source code. If you need additional information regarding the headers, you can also get that. So this is a tool that I use quite a lot when I'm doing bug bounty specifically, just to give me an idea as to what I'm dealing with. Plus, as I said, it saves everything into a nice folder with a report that, again, can be used. You can actually take this info and then put it into an actual report. It's not the cleanest of reports, but again, it makes a lot of sense. And you can actually see what the site looks like. It's great if you have different projects, if you're testing different domains, but you have the resolved IP here, which points towards the Cloudflare name server, or the IP, provided by the Cloudflare name server, which of course in this case is proxied. And the same thing should be for the actual forum. You can see they all point towards the same IP address there. So that is going to conclude the practical demonstration side of this video.